Here we go, chat. How's everyone doing today? This is yours truly, Versace. Welcome to the One L Real Talk Show. Today we got a crazy video, chat. We are speaking and showing you guys the most trending videos in the internet. What's wrong with my beer? What the heck I got in my beer? Oh, never mind. So today we're gonna watch the most trending video in American things right now. What it is this people scamming even to this day. After Christmas. What's today? Hold on, chat. I'm trying to see the date today. Today is Sunday, December 28th. These people still scamming today.
What was that money spent? There aren't any kids.
Answer the question. Are there children? There's no children inside this building.
Potentially the largest fraud scandal in U.S. history is taking place in Minnesota as literally billions of dollars have been funneled through Somali-ran fraudulent businesses. So much fraud it could actually almost replace the entire GDP of Somalia. These fraudsters have worked hand in hand with the Minnesota government as they enabled billions of dollars to be given to fraudulent businesses underneath welfare purposes. Some of this money eventually landed in the hands of terrorist groups in Somalia like the Al-Shabaab, and others enriched themselves all at the US taxpayers' expense. And in this video we will break down all of the fraud from start to finish, from going to the fraudulent businesses and confronting the people who are making millions of dollars from the government. And we will also be confronting the incompetent government leaders who let this fraud happen. And to make this happen, I met up with a man who's been doing his own investigation for years now, as he has seen the fraud firsthand. His name is David. Let's get into this and be prepared to be shocked. How deep is this fraud here inside of Minnesota?
It is far worse than anybody can imagine. You heard it's 7 to 10 billion and maybe more, and now the numbers have been revised and put out there publicly that they think it's more like 8 billion. How I got involved is that where my office is here in Minneapolis, I'm sort of in the heart of all of this fraud, and I would see these child care centers. I said, well, there aren't any kids there. It's the middle of the day, and all I see are a couple of guys standing out front smoking. And then I'd go by another daycare and I'd see the same thing. I said, well, where do these kids play? And so I started to go online and look, and I said, this place is licensed for 80 children. They had 0 children. Every time I went by there, they never had a single child there. Then I started to see all these transportation companies going around, and it was always a Somali driver. And I said, well, that's great. They're out there transportation, contributing, but they never had a passenger, never, ever once. And I said, well, what is all this transportation? What are they doing? So then I found out that in Minnesota, they have something called non-emergency medical transportation. So this is going to the dentist's office, therapy, whatever it might be. And I said, well, how many of these companies are there? And the research came back that there are 1,020 of them, and more than 800 of them are Somali-owned. Nobody from the state of Minnesota ever cross-checks to see if any rides were ever actually provided. All they did was write the check.
So right here we have all this paperwork. And how are you getting all this information about the fraud?
A lot of it is through my own research. And then I have some contacts at the Capitol going back many, many years. And so the data that I'm getting is 100% accurate, coming directly from research done by people at the state Capitol.
All this paperwork right here, what are we looking at?
The areas of fraud that I have numbers for are mostly related to childcare. This is massive fraud that is beyond anyone's imagination, the scope. And so, for example, there's a childcare not far from here in Minneapolis that has two childcares listed at the same address. And together, they're licensed supposedly for 120 children.
Damn.
I have never seen a single child there ever.
And by the way, guys, this is still happening. Okay, this video has been the most talked about video all week. All week is the most trending thing right now online is this video. I need you guys to go check out my brother right here. He's been out doing crazy videos, real videos, right? On everything from the Charlie Kirk thing to all this immigration, Mexican power, immigration. We got to stop ICE. He was out there. You know what I mean? He was getting harassed. He was getting bullied. He was getting pushed. He was getting punched. this brother still was out there every day giving us all these beautiful videos, right? This got to be the most important one out of all his entire career. This video. This young man is 20-something years old. He finally had the nuts, the cojones. Let me rephrase that. I apologize. He had the cojones to go out there and fight these people. This dude was this.
I've been by that place at least 100 times.
These Somalians, these groups are setting up these daycares, these child care centers, getting money from the government, but there's no kids.
No kids.
No kids, child.
Never had any of them. They're
Imagine
all
that.
fraught with violations, and even though they have these violations, they're still in operation and they're still getting money. And it's millions of dollars for every one of them every year.
And who?
Like clockwork. Pam, 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 pam. So then you guys wonder, okay, so who's cutting the check? Well, it's coming from the governor's office. Those are the people that sign checks. So I remember when I used to help plowing, right? So my boy had a company that we used to plow, snowed out here. And how the when you get a government contract, how it is it's not like a regular job. So you get paid, right? It's when the season's over. So you show, allegedly, you showed all the properties that supposedly you did, how many hours, how many men, what material was used, how much salt was, and that's the other thing. They don't pay for salt because the city got their own big storage facility of all the salt they can use in certain towns and cities, right? When winter comes. So they don't pay for that. Some of these people don't even pay for gas because they'll give you a state credit card just to put gas in your vehicles, right? So look at that. They're getting paid for free gas. They're getting paid to get free salt. They're getting paid to go, plow the snow, whatever. Even if there's no snow, they still get paid at the end of the year. They'll be like, oh, man, we went and cleaned your properties. We threw salt. We thought it was going to rain. It snowed, so we prepared it. Then you show videos, pictures, before and after. Then you go into the shop and have a manager sign, yep, they were out here for a couple hours, blah, 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 blah. But all that shit could be manipulated. As long as you got somebody in one of these businesses that can say, oh, yeah, man, he was here 50 hours. He was here 5 hours a day for a couple months, right? So let's say you charge the city $200,000. The city is gonna be okay. Here you go, about $200,000. That goes for your plowing thing and your team. So that's how people have been scamming here. It's not that, oh, you go here, they give you a check. No. That comes from the higher ups. They're the ones that co-sign the checks. Because if anything, it falls on them. That's how this whole thing in government works, right? You got chain of commands. Hey, man, we need that check for these people, man. They did this and that. Okay, how much is it? Oh, it's about $3 million. Really? Yeah. They fed like 700 kids, and these are the properties. These are all the things that you guys need, right? All the signatures. Once they go through the signatures and all the boxes, they make sure everything adds up. Here's your check. Instead of them going out and doing their job, let me go make sure this guy or this people did what they supposed to be doing. But no, they sit back, they get a cut, right? I don't know, man. It's just too much stuff. As confusing as it sound right now, that's how we all are, chat.
Who's getting the money, and where are they getting the money from?
See?
So we have a thing called CCAP. It's a blend of federal and state money. The bottom line is it's taxpayer money, so it's state money and it's federal money.
Yep.
And the problem is the people at the state of Minnesota are the ones writing the checks.
Yep.
This is kind of the maddening thing is you have daycare, so you have adult daycare, and then you have child care, and then you have health care. And a lot of these same names keep coming up on all of these different types of businesses. And then, of course, we have the transportation, and a lot of those same names appear, a lot of the same addresses.
Crazy.
There's one building that has 14 Somali healthcare companies at the same address.
That's why.
There's another building
That's crazy.
in St. Paul that has
That's
22
crazy,
Somali healthcare businesses at the same address.
And
And nothing
the
happens.
government knows about this.
The government knows they're writing the checks.
Yep. See.
Yeah, the Democrats over there just writing the checks. What has happened is that the Somali community is a very closed community. They will not speak to anyone outside the community and talk about what's going on within the community. They vote as a block. And so when you're a politician, you're saying, look, I've got 100,000 people in Minnesota that if I do something for the community, they're going to vote for me. And that's what it's all about, is getting the votes. And then the people here in Minnesota, you hear this term, Minnesota nice. I'm so sick of that term. The people here are so afraid of being called a racist or an Islamophobe. And they're afraid of their own shadow.
Look
And I
at
don't
that.
understand. This is our future generations are going to have to pay for all this
Yep.
fraud. And they just want to bury their heads in the sand and go on and just not worry about it. Tim Walz saying there's organized crime in Minnesota. What did he do about it? Nothing. You got organized crime? What are you doing? This is the Minnesota law,
Nothing.
which mandates that anyone who knows of fraud and is a state employee must report that fraud. It's Minnesota Statute 3.971, Subdivision 9. Not only that, but Walz is also guilty of misconduct of a public employee.
Look at that.
When I look at the world as a whole and I look at fraud, the Twin Cities is ground zero. The fraud is worse here than anywhere else ever in history. Anywhere.
We're going to go confront these people. We're going to go to these daycare centers. We're going to see what's actually happening.
Okay, so we have to be careful because these people are very violent. They're exceptionally violent.
Now, with all of David's evidence, we headed out to the streets of Minneapolis to see
That's
how
crazy.
much fraud we could uncover in one afternoon.
Where are we going now?
We're going to a place called Mako Child Care, which actually has another child care registered at the same address called Mini Child Care Center.
So we should see lots of children if there's this child care center, especially if there's two.
The two of them combined are licensed for 120.
And how much money have these child care centers received?
None of those vans have moved in 6 months. None of them. In 2020, one of them received 1.3 million. In 2021, they got 987,000. In 2022, they got 714,000. That's the last I have for that one. And then the other one,
So
one
the-
point.
So my thing is this, though, right? How the hell a country that has no schools, no education programs, nothing? It's like a Wild West in Somalia. How do they know all this scam? This got to be an inside job. This had to be in a government. This had to, listen, guys. For people to learn these scams, you have to be an employer in the government office to figure out how these things work. So, one of my favorite race in the world is the black community, the American African black community, right? The ones from here in America I'm talking about. I'm not talking about fucking Africa or anywhere. I'm talking about the American African, the African American people from America, right? The hip hop guys, the fashion, local drug dealer, those people, right? We all learn something from them. Number one is style, the way we dress, the way we speak, the way we carry ourselves, right? The bling bling, you know, the music, the swag, the culture, the food, everything, right? Even though my parents are from the Dominican Republic, right? Little island right next to Puerto Rico and Cuba. But every race in this world, right? From Pluto to Mars, everybody wants to, at one point in their life, they'll try to be like a black person. I admitted it. Even to this day, I'm grateful for my beautiful black people here in America that taught me a lot of things. How not to be bullied, how to fight, how to dress, how to carry myself, how to approach certain girls, right? We got all of our swags from them, right? And these people are running the sports industry, the music industry, now the movie industry, and the fashion. So you telling me that the first thugged out race in America is the black community. Then comes the Latin community and vice versa. You telling me that my black brothers and sisters here in America didn't pick up on this scam? I'm probably saying it the wrong way. But you telling me that a bunch of weirdos, a bunch of people from Somalia learned all these scams. This is new to me. I didn't even know that there's government programs. All you need is a couple vans and say, oh, look, this company is a transportation company for kids, old people, and adults in urban community that get government assistance. So instead of you waiting for the bus in the rain, cold, or hot, you got these local nonprofit groups that pick you up and drop you off at your home. Bring you to an appointment. Let's say you got a dentist appointment. Hey, I'm going to be there at a certain time, pick you up, drop you off, and bring you back home. Why? Because at the end of the month, the government is going to give you guys, the nonprofit organization. I don't know how that shit works. I still say all this is still a scam, right? Even the nonprofits, because the richest companies in America are nonprofits, like TP USA. Soon they're going to investigate that shit. Because I guarantee you, TP USA been doing scams in bigger numbers, right? All these nonprofit, they know the gray areas in government, right? But for you to learn this, you yourself have to be in government for years to learn about all these programs and the gray areas in these programs. So you telling me that a bunch of sand weirdos from Ethiopia, right, out of nowhere, learned this? No, this was taught to them. Hey, look, I work in government, but we can be rich. How? Because there's a lot of you guys here, and one of the weakest thing in America is called money and racism. So this is how we're going to do it first. We're going to try to get rid of or scam, let's say $1 million this year. See how it goes, right? And if anything, we didn't know nothing, we'll blame these people. They just showed up yesterday. And that's what they did. The first scam was about $1 million or $2 million. Then the following year, because nobody investigated that $1 million and change, they turned it up a notch and said, you know what, we're gonna steal $15 million now. Oh, they didn't find nothing? Okay, now we're gonna smack them with $60 million. Oh, they didn't find nothing yet? Okay, 200 and something million. Oh, they still didn't find shit? Bro, 700 million. And it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And now the scam is like a 12 to $15 billion in the last 4 or 5 years in Minnesota. Every year it got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. That means somebody in the high government allowed this to keep happening because they're getting a cut from this. And not only they're getting a cut, they're getting millions in private things. And not only that, they got the votes to keep this scam going. Why? Because if we can control the vote, we can control the scam. Because if we let another person come in, right, that's not part of this group, it's going to investigate what we're doing, and we might all be going to jail. But if we keep this monopoly going with the same mayor and governor and senator, right, to represent us, right, and keep pointing fingers and saying they're racism or racist because we're black and we're from whatever Somalian pirate country, we just say they're racist, so they can't do nothing to us. And this is what's been happening here. This is what I was trying to say about the black American people here in America. You telling me the only cool thing you guys picked up was learning how to rap, stick up people, and sell drugs? When you got these weirdos stealing billions from government and not one person going to jail, we're in the wrong business, chat. Sorry.
$604 million in fiscal year 2025. Fiscal year 2024, they got about $800,000, and in fiscal year 2023, they got $904,059. This place right here. Yes.
We're outside of it.
Well, this is actually two daycares are registered here. One of them is Mako, which you see on the sign. The other one is Mini Child Care Center. And Between the two of these child care centers, they're pulling in about $3 million a year,
Oh my God.
and there are no children. Every facility that you go to, the windows will be blocked out so you can't see in. There's nobody here. You won't see a single child at any of these facilities.
There are indeed no windows. All the windows are blacked out right.
Let me know in the comments what you thought, chat. Make sure you go check my brother out. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next video. And remember, YouTube, we're not here to bully, harass anyone. We're here for educational purpose only. What to do and what not to do in certain situations. I love you guys. Make sure you guys subscribe. And yes, chat, I'm going to upload the video now of the 10 things you need to protect yourself and your family.